Hey guys, what's up? Today we'll be looking at some text updates towards cards that work mostly with zone placement. As you already know, card placement is now being made more important as link monsters gain their effects when monsters are placed at specific zones and trap cards that activate within columns. Most of the updates are minimal but are made clearer that the zone targeted must be a main monster zone. An example of this is Ground Collapse, which is the first card to be updated. Its old effect was select two monster card zones on the field. Neither player can use the selected zones. You cannot select a zone that is occupied by a monster card. The only difference for this is clarifying that it can only use the main monster zone and not the extra deck zone, which was what people had initially thought of, which resulted in a price spike. The next card is Magical Hats. The old effect is, during your opponent's battle phase, choose two spell or trap cards from your deck and one monster you control. Special summon them as normal monsters, attack 0, defense 0. In face down defense position, set the chosen monster if it is face up and shuffle them on the field. The two cards chosen from your deck are destroyed at the end of the battle phase and cannot remain on the field except during the battle phase. The new effect refers to the monster you have being in the main monster zone. The next card is Needle Wall. The old effect is, once per turn during your standby phase, roll a 6-sided die, treat your opponent's monster card zones as numbers 1 to 5 counting from your right, and destroy the monster that is in the same monster card zone as a result. If the result is 6, roll again. The unique effect works on the main monster zone only. This is a nerf for Needle Wall, as though it is complete luck if you're able to destroy a monster. The ability for extra deck monsters to be in a zone that cannot be affected by this card significantly weakens it, until the moment they extend their extra deck through a link monster. The next card is one of the newer cards, actually. It was introduced in Zeal. The next card is number 57, Tri-Headed Dust Dragon. The old effect is, when this card is special summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to that monster's current attack. If your opponent controls more cards than you do, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then choose one unused monster card zone or spell/trap card zone. While this card is face up on the field, that card zone cannot be used. The new effect chooses the main monster zone. This effect is nerfed as the addition of another monster zone means the restriction of other zones are less effective. The next card is Numbing Rub in the Ice Barrier. The old effect is, when this card is normal summoned, select one unused monster card zone. While this card is face up on the field, that card zone cannot be used. The new effect targets the main monster zone. This makes no real difference as this card is not commonly used and is typically very easy to destroy and get back to that monster zone. The next card is a continuous spell card called Shifting Shadows. The old effect is, once per turn, by paying 300 life points, rearrange the face-down defense position monsters on your side of the field, then return them in face-down defense position. The only difference is now it requires your main monster zone, as opposed to just a clarification, really. The next card is Wandering Mummy. The old effect is, you can flip this card into face-down defense position once per turn during your main phase. After you use this effect, rearrange the face-down defense position monsters on your side of the field and return them in face-down defense position. The new effect only works on the main monster zone. Overall, this card does not matter when updating its effect. It's not being run in anything of note. The next card is probably the newest card. It's a pendulum card called Zany Zebra. The old effect is, once per turn during your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you can choose one unused monster zone or spell/trap zone. While this card is in the pendulum zone, that chosen zone cannot be used. And its monster effect is, if this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can choose one unused monster zone or spell/trap zone. While this card is face up in the monster zone, that zone cannot be used. The new effect specifies the main monster zone, restricting its usefulness, though being versatile enough to hit either type of zone monster or spells and traps can now prevent pillaging monsters from working, as they have now been given specific zones to the furthest left and to the right of the spell trap card zones. The next card is Blasting Fuse. The old effect reads, activate only when all 4 zones of this card's column are occupied. Destroy all cards in this column. The new effect states all zones rather than 4 zones. The text update for this is bizarre, and I don't think it was necessary. If anything, this could make it more difficult for newer players to understand. The next card is Darkness Approaches. The old effect is discard 2 cards from your hand, select one face-up monster and flip it face down, but do not change its battle position. The new effect removes the flip it to change it to face down defense position. This makes it clear to understand, as they understand this is a transition process, meaning cards can be changed beforehand. And also it now means, you had the memes to do with it staying in face-up attack position, which was obviously a mistake on Konami's part. The next card is Senate Switch. The old effect is once per turn during your main phase, you can move one monster on your side of the field to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. The new effect moves your monster to an adjacent horizontal unoccupied monsters card zone. This makes little difference, as I feel most people could just understand you either move the monster once to the left or once to the right. The next card is Alien Infiltrator. The old effect is once per turn, this card can move to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. If no spell, trap, or monster card on your opponent's side of the field is in the same column as this card, it can attack your opponent directly. The new effect moves to an adjacent horizontal unoccupied monster card zone. Same transition as Senate Switch. The next card is Storm Shooter. The old effect is once per turn, you can select and activate one of these effects. Move this card to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. Return one spell, trap, or monster card on your opponent's side of the field in the same column as this card to its owner's hand. The new effect just changes to move to an adjacent horizontal unoccupied monster card zone. The last card is Rampaging Rhinos. The old card effect is once per turn, this card can move to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. If this card attacks the monster in its same column, this card gains 500 attack during the damage step. The new effect is moved to an adjacent horizontal unoccupied monster card zone. Overall, these text changes did not need to happen. To most of these cards, I believe the only cards requiring the text change are to clarify that they affect the main monster zone rather than the extra monster zone. So, what do you guys think? Did they need to make these text changes, or should they have just made a small announcement / demonstration video to help newer players understand the evolution of this mechanic? Please like, comment and subscribe, and as always, thank you for taking the time to watch.